Rabbi Yitzhak Zilberstein, in his book Aleinu Shabbat, tells the following story. In a Jewish cemetery in Turkey, there's a tombstone with the following words engraved on it. The crown of our heads, Moreni v'Rabbeinu, the embittered man, the scholar, Rav Nissim Avraham Ashkenazi ben Rachel, author of the Sefer Nechmad Lemareh, the Sefer Darush Avraham, the Sefer Maaseh Avraham, and many other manuscripts. Who is this Reb Nissim Avraham Ashkenazi, Moreni v'Rabbeinu, who was on one hand an embittered man, and on the other a scholar who had written many svarim, many books? In the introduction to one of his books, his nephews penned lavish praise about their illustrious uncle. After waxing eloquent on the subject of their uncle's holiness, diligence, and achievements in Torah, they then explain the reason for his embittered heart. His wife gave birth to 18 children, and every single one of them died during his lifetime. And yet, the nephews maintain, despite his enormous grief, he did not turn into a sad person. Not sad? How can that be? How can a father withstand such grief as the death of 18 children, one after the other, funeral after funeral? The nephews testify that, despite his grief at these tragedies, he did not lose his simcha. Despite all the agony he suffered, Rabbi Ashkenazi developed into a tremendous scholar who merited authoring many books on different topics in Torah. Rabbi Zilberstein asks, what's the nature of the strength that can sustain a person in such situations? Only the power of emunah, of faith. Only pure faith that, as Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, our forefather, refers to Hashem in this week's parsha, and which I spoke about in the shiur I sent earlier this week, Hashem is his shepherd, and that every single thing that the shepherd does is for the benefit of his flock. Says Rabbi Zilberstein, one who stands firm and does not fall, who clings constantly to his trust in Hashem, he is a truly living person. Every single minute of his life turns into a feat of outstanding avodas Hashem, of service of Hashem. And each minute of rising to this challenge is more highly valued by Hashem than the moments of tranquility in a person's life. And he says that we learn this principle from the first verse in this week's parasha. It says, Yaakov lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and the days of Yaakov, the years of his life, were 147 years. Though Yaakov spent a considerable period of time in Egypt, no less than 17 years, during which he doubtless made many strides in his Torah and serving Hashem, the Torah doesn't elaborate on that period. This is because those years passed in tranquility, in contrast to the years in Eretz Yisrael, which had been filled with many troubles. In Israel, his service of Hashem had been achieved through pain and suffering. The Torah, which wants to provide us with the proper yardstick for life, elaborates on what Yaakov suffered over the episode of Din and Shem and the confrontation with Esav and all his difficulties in order to teach us that one's primary avodas Hashem, one's primary service of Hashem, is that which is achieved through difficulty and overcoming obstacles. It's not that we ask for difficulty, chas v'shalom, not as a nation, and we want this war to end and the hostages and the soldiers to return home safely soon, be'ezras Hashem, and not as individuals either, but to know that there is a purpose to it all, that it's being orchestrated and shepherded by a loving God, and that we can grow through it and become closer to Hashem because of it. Wishing you all good Shabbos.